Hey everyone, welcome. I'm going to be playing some chess, doing some admin work, and just chilling with you guys for a while. Feel free to ask me anything. If you're seeing this video after the stream, feel free to drop those questions in the comment section and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Well, shout out to Discord. So I have a few chess games on the go right now. If anyone does want to challenge me, I am capital T the capital P Pangburn on chess.com. Make sure you just challenge me to 3-day games though, just in case, because I sometimes I have to step away. So make sure you do challenge me to games that are 3 days long. But usually we'll get to them much quicker. I'm actually going to put my little, let's see here. My little screen here. Let's see. Can I move that? No. It kind of wants to be. Yeah, I don't know how well you guys can see the chessboard if it's this size, but yeah, just let me know if the chessboard is too small. Now we're going to step back. Um, Hey, I see there's a few of you in the room right now. Make sure you drop a like. It really helps out the stream. kind of feel bad for this player already. You're going to have to do something to protect. I'm willing to sacrifice that pawn for this this position here. I haven't played in a really long time, so I'm just reclimbing the ladder here. What up, Faith? I happen to be an atheist, but Pangburn is about good faith, helpful discourse. Pangburn itself as like a philosophy, that is something you apply to all aspects of your life. Good faith meaning sincerity of intentions. So always being sincere, always being honest, and also always being helpful. So that's what Pangburn's all about. And that's what this channel is all about. It doesn't represent any particular point of view outside those maxims being a minimum requirement for what I consider the fruitful dialectic. So a fruitful dialectic minimum requirement needs to include helpfulness and good faith. And that's what the channel is all about. And me, I have my own particular views, but those are outside of the laws that govern the Pangburn universe. So yeah, you'll see me throw out my my perspectives out there once in a while, but you know, all ideas are welcome. If you join our Discord server, you'll realize we have Muslims, Christians, atheists, Hindus, like we have everyone on our Discord server, so all worldviews are welcome. I see there's 10 of you in the room right now. If you guys could just take a second to hit that like button, it just really helps with the algorithm. Even if you're not going to stick around for very long, it really does help. What's this guy doing now? Oh, did he really take that bait? I mean, okay. And maybe he's going to bring his queen out. That's fine. It's just such a strong position here. Who would win in a fight? Carl Sagan with the powers of Dr. Manhattan or Neil deGrasse Tyson with Superman's power? Look, Dr. Manhattan wins. Dr. Manhattan beats anyone. Dr. Manhattan is energy. He is reality. So there's no beating Dr. Manhattan. Superman, like the only thing I've really thought about as a way to beat Dr. Manhattan is if you convince Dr. Manhattan to delete himself from the universe. All copies of himself, all trace of himself. So maybe the bard, whoever's the best bard character, best conversational skills, you know, that's the only way you beat Dr. Manhattan. I don't think Superman is that. So no fucking way. Superman's got nothing on Dr. Manhattan. So this guy's chosen to trap here. See, the problem is I'm going to put his knight in check here. So generally getting your queen out early like this is a bad fucking idea. But you know, it just obviously depends on the opponent you're playing. I can afford to get my queen out early versus someone who's, you know, maybe not necessarily the most advanced player. I'm not either. I am not an advanced player. I have not studied chess in the way you're supposed to study chess. Not at all. I'm basically playing on, when I play chess, I'm playing on like instinct, what seems to make sense. Um, okay. I'm going to go check. He would take. I mean, again, I don't think he saw this. I mean, I might just be getting had here, but I think he made a blunder there. So now he's going to take that, but the problem um, is we're going to go. What are we going to do? I mean, we're just going to be able to pick up a lot of material here. So, and the queen's going to have to get out of check. So, so we win his castle. Check. He's got to bring the queen back. Yeah. Then we're going to go. Like this is just bad news for him. Then we're going to bring the queen out here for another check. Now I could take the pawn at h7, but I think this is a more powerful move. But as I'm talking to you guys, obviously I'm going to blunder a piece, which is hilarious. Okay, yeah, that was the right move. But now I'm going to develop. Right? He can't move his knight now. I'm not on Lichess, no. James K says, would you rather die a slow, agonizing death via colon cancer or be forced to watch 15 minutes of Amy Schumer's stand up every day for the rest of your life? I'll take the colon cancer. Bob? No, yeah, no, I'll listen to Amy Schumer. I don't want to die. That's funny. So now the question here. So that was a good move. He needs to move his pawn up there. Needs to. So I'm going to dance to the right, continuing this assault. Now, if he takes with knight, I obviously win that piece and am in a very nice position here. I don't know why he would take that. See, when you start building up again, I'm on an older account. I'm only at an 845 rating on this one, but I'm playing at around a 1200, between 12 and 1500, depending on whether I blunder or not or make some just stupid mistakes because I'm not paying attention. But so again, he's just exposing himself too much here. I mean, it's a very nice it's a very nice time to castle here. But do I need to castle? And do I want to give him that queen back there? Well, I can pick up materials, so yeah, we're gonna castle. James says he would take colon cancer. Yeah, there's a few of you guys in the room right now. Just very chill day today. I'm just doing a bit of admin work while I play some chess. And yeah, feel free to ask me anything. Oh shit. Yeah, so he elected to castle as well, which is cool. So I think we're going to take this lane. Makes sense. I mean, it's really nice to get the night out here, but it's also nice to jump on this lane first. So we'll take the lane. I should actually adjust my camera a little bit so I'm not always like inching out of the screen here, because I have a tendency to go right here. Okay, that's fine. Let me know in the comment section here of the live stream, what is a discussion you're dying to see on stage? Who would you like to see on stage together? Let me know in the comment section who you think would be an awesome combination to have a discussion. I'm relying on you guys to let me know, because that's what we do. That's what we do here. Okay, he's gonna make me step back. Yeah, he's making some better plays now. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Oh, he quit. Let's look at my game review. It says I made 2 mistakes. %74% accuracy. I had 1 miss. Yikes. I mean, I played at 1,000 rating. He played at a 650. Yeah, he made some terrible errors. Okay, cool. I'll take the points. 14 points. I also have some long form games going with some of our Pangburn broadcasters right now. Just waiting for them to make their move. Okay. We're going to go with the King's Pawn opening again. I don't know why this... Oh, okay. Okay, the French defense. That tells me that they're probably going to try to get their queen out early here, but we'll see. I'm obviously going to take up some more center real estate. There are some very cheesy responses to the French defense, but it's not something that people typically fall for. Okay. Protect. I'm actually, we'll continue the development here. Inar says, I once called you barbaric long back for eating meat. I have since revised my opinion on people from colder places. Would like to say sorry. Yeah, no worries. I mean, yeah, I grew up in a hunting family, and I I love fishing whenever I can get out there. But yeah, I get it. It's like this is some people have a really hard time just imagining needing to living in certain areas where hunting and fishing is just a necessity to sustain human well-being. And we might get to a place at some point where we don't need to do this, but yeah. So a lot of people would put their pawn up here to block the check. I'm actually going to bring out. I'm going to take it as an opportunity to either swap or to further develop my knight. Now, and I don't know what the book says on that, but I like that move. James K says, "What is your opinion on Platonic numbers?" Or put another way, was mathematics discovered or invented. Some argue that reality is math and all mathematical models must exist physically. I take the logicism route on this. I am right in line with Bertrand Russell. I think here's how here's how I explain mathematics. So there's reality, but there's also something we've come to realize as the consistent relation of reality. There's consistency out there. So apples fall down from trees, they're not falling up to the sky from trees. So there's a consistent relation in reality. And we come to discover eventually that there's a physics that we can come to understand and use to build technologies and things like that. So logic is a system we've abstracted from the consistent relation of reality. And that consistent relation of reality, um, if it wasn't consistent, we wouldn't be able to do that. But we abstract logic from that. And then from logic, basic logic principles, the logical absolutes, and the things we discover through logic, we can abstract mathematics from that. So, these are all abstractions from the same place that we're looking and noticing a consistent relation of reality. Uh, I'm actually going to we're going to push here. We're going to see he's got good protection there, but these are pawns. He's going to take pawns. He wants e4, which is fine. If he takes e4, like his queen is in some trouble here. But we'll see if he sees it. There's a few more of you in the room, you guys. Make sure you drop a like. I'm just chilling today. But yeah, one of the best things anyone can ever learn or teach to anyone is just the basics of logic and what logic really is at its fundamental basis. Yeah, Titan, you can ask me anything. Yeah, so numbers are conceptual objects in the mind. So it depends what you mean. It depends on what you mean by Platonic. So some people consider those conceptual objects to be Platonic objects, to have Platonic form, but it all depends. You might want to rephrase your question. Okay, so they decided to take, which is cool. Then we take. Now we have great development here. Okay, they're going to go queen check. Cool. We're going to take this opportunity to develop our bishop. Now, the question here would be, do I want to take away? No, not worried about that right now. And that's okay. If mathematics are simply a way for us to keep track of things, I see no reason for them to be platonic. I see no reason for all mathematical models to have a physical manifestation either. Yeah, I mean, they don't need to. We are the ones that abstract from the consistent relation of reality through logic to create mathematics as a way of understanding that consistent relation. So mathematics, just like an art form or whatever, is created by us as conceptual objects, if you want to call them that. Mathematics doesn't exist out there. We invent mathematics based on the consistent relation of reality. Make sure you guys drop a like. We're just chilling today. Chilling. So he elects to drop back, which is cool. Now we're going to get a little busy here. It's almost time to castle. I like this move. It's a lot of pressure. We have really good positioning here. And like I said, I'm going to blunder at some point. No question of that. Okay, then your position is that mathematics was invented by humans for computational purposes, ergo it is not Platonic. Again, not Platonic in some senses of it's it's Platonic if you are a physicalist and you believe that everything is physical. like I am. So in that sense, it is. But yeah, these are interesting questions. Yeah, a question for back to you, James, is are you a physicalist? Do you believe that all things are almost certainly physical? Um, Wait a second. Oh yeah. No, we good. Is this where I'm going to get nasty? Nasty. Oh yeah. Yep. I would love to castle this next turn. Okay, we have a clip going absolutely fucking bonkers viral right now on the channel. Another Douglas Murray clip. So we're obviously going to take this opportunity to target the no. I saw something better. So it looks like they are going to let me castle here. Obviously they're wanting to attack. Actually, no. It's too sweet. They gave this to me. It's just too sweet. So I love coming in king side down the file. Okay. Oh man, I think they made a horrible mistake here, but we'll see. Maybe I made a mistake. Who knows? That's the beauty of chess. The forms are metaphysical. So as a physicalist, I don't believe anything is Platonic. Yeah. So no, but physicalists think that everything is physical. Metaphysical things are just metaphysics is just a placeholder for something we don't yet have an object formation for. So physicalists believe that everything is going to be found to be physical. That means in the future, everything, including concepts in the mind, are going to be found to be physical. That's physicalism. If you don't believe that, if you believe there are things that are not physical, or at their most fundamental basis metaphysical, and that metaphysics isn't just like, you know, a way to create categories between mind dependent and mind independent, then I then I would say you're not a physicalist if you don't believe that it's all physical. Guys, make sure you drop a like when you get into the room. Thank you. This coffee is so good. Okay, this is interesting. He saw the impending doom here. Now. So yeah, now I'm obviously going to take there. He's going to come down with his queen, which is fine. I like my position. Ooh. Just remember, Trav, he's currently targeting your queen. Well, yeah, I'll take. Queen's going to come down. And then we are going to castle, I believe. Now that pawn is left open. So which side do we castle on? We are going to castle on there we go. Man, he really I think that's a mistake, because I'm going to be able to take, and we're mate in one if he doesn't adjust. Unless I'm missing something. Is it? No. I don't think he saw it. And I say he, I don't know. Oh my God, Travis Pangburn is misgendering people. The mind is, Inar says, better read Quine on mathematics for this conversation to be rich, just saying, no offense. Well, why don't you let us know in the comment section where there would be a difference. James K says, the mind is just a continuous physical phenomena. Obviously, consciousness is still mysterious, but all phenomena are ultimately physical, while the mind may be product of physical processes. Yeah, but even that product it creates is physical if you're a physicalist. You say not all concepts the mind devises are valid or need be, I think you meant refined. So yeah, I mean, you can create bullshit concepts, but they're still taking physical form if you are a physicalist. That's what you believe. GSP says, what is your next show going to be? June 1st, Alex O'Connor versus Dinesh D'Souza in New York City. We're heading back to the Bronx for this one. That'll be a good bout. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be nice to see Dinesh again. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Dinesh, he's such a fraud," and he's still a human being, and he's a nice guy. I like hanging out with Dinesh, and I can see why him and Christopher Hitchens were such good friends. Very fun-loving, easygoing guy, and I like working with him. And from a business standpoint, he's always been honorable. And this will be my first time working with Alex O'Connor, but it's time for him to get on the big stage and sit up there with one of Christopher Hitchens' greatest opponents. But I will say that Dinesh and I just disagree on a lot of things. So now, I mean, this guy's I must have a better move than that. Okay, I'm going to back out for now. We're going to go there. I was able to pick up that material, which was cool. Where do I want to go, though? I'm actually probably going to go here. Yeah. Yep. I'm going to go here. I like that move. Hey, Titan. So I explained this earlier. Pangburn is simply about good faith, helpful intellectual discourse. I have my own opinions. I happen to be an atheist, but this channel represents Christian perspectives as much as it does atheist perspectives, or Muslim perspectives as much as it does atheist perspectives. So um, this Pangburn is governed by the laws of good faith and helpfulness, and by good faith I mean sincerity of intentions, basically honesty, and helpfulness. If you want an example of how that would look in a dialectic, it would be reaching out to pull out the best argument possible out of your interlocutor, as opposed to just trying to find ways to trip them up and make them look stupid. That would be something I wouldn't want to see at Pangburn. So people that come to speak at Pangburn, that's what's expected of them. And look, good faith does not mean ideas that you agree with, right? And helpfulness doesn't mean like it's unhelpful to be hateful towards this group. That's not what it means. These are dialectical rules. But I have my own political positions and positions on God and free will and all that stuff. But I don't allow that to influence the kind what I want to see as an outcome in a discussion. That's not what it's about. Titan says, love it. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, I've been GSP asks, have you ever tried to get William Lane Craig on? Yeah, so William Lane Craig, him and I have been kind of in a standoff about Matt Dillahunty. So I've approached Craig multiple times about having a discussion with Matt Dillahunty. It's a discussion everyone wants to see. And William Lane Craig's position is, Matt Dillahunty doesn't hold the formal education that I would require to have a discussion with him. And I think that's intellectual cowardice. I think he's afraid of Matt Dillahunty. And, William Lane Craig should, pull it up by his bootstraps and have a discussion with Matt Dillahunty, even if it's not at Pangburn. GSP asked the ultimate question: why is there something rather than nothing? Now, why is a I'm going to take that to mean how, but why usually begs a purpose, and sometimes the physical explanation is purpose enough for people to understand. That's fine. My current belief on like first cause issues is that there has always been and always will be a fundamental infinite state of potential. That's what I think reality is sitting on. It answers it answers the problems that come up with first cause. I think it's the most logically plausible answer, that there is at some place an infinite state of potential where things can or cannot happen, on any for any reason, but the potential is always there. The potential for something rather than nothing. So that's my best answer to the first cause versus infinite regression question. GSP says, "Give me a break, Travis. What a joke. You think William Lane Craig is scared of Matt? Then I guess you think Dawkins was scared of William Lane Craig." Yeah. Dawkins may in fact be scared to enter a debate with William Lane Craig, and Dawkins would say that he doesn't want to give more credence to the to people who think that William Lane Craig is able to demonstrate the existence of God just through excellent debate skills. Um, and William Lane Craig's William Lane Craig just he may not want to sit down with Matt Dillahunty because of his credentials, but he has sat down with people before who uh who don't have credentials, or who have the same amount of credentials as Matt. So there seems to be a special circumstance being grafted onto Matt here. Because look, a lot of people think that Jordan Peterson's worst night ever was when he sat down with Matt Dillahunty. And I think there's some strong arguments there. Jordan wasn't able to get away with some of his sophistry, and Matt Dillahunty was on his case for it that entire night. Did they offer me a draw? No, I don't want a draw. And where did they move? They moved there. Okay, interesting. So we, of course, are going to attack oof. Well, yeah, they knew it was over. They resigned. Feel free to drop a like, guys. I really appreciate it. Craig has debate every single atheist worth anything. Why would you put it like that? Like worth anything? Like I haven't debated William Lane Craig. Am I not worth anything? Like this kind of extremist language is not wise. Yeah, I suggest taking a little more time to garner more wisdom in your positions. It just comes off as like the purple-haired feminist screaming that no man can be moral. That's what it reminds me of. GSP. Titan says, "How do you understand nothingness?" I think nothingness, is a conceptual abstraction based on just thinking creatively about reality, but I don't think nothingness. I'm not convinced that nothingness has ever existed. I think that there is that fundamental state of potential that always has been and always will be at some level. Now, that state of potential might be something else. It's possible that it's a God, right? A lot of people say, yeah, that's where God is, God of the gaps. But that would need to be demonstrated. All I know is that it is some kind of state of potential for things that that can happen, right? And we see around us that there is a reality. So there was a reality, at least the way we see it, born out of that. James K says, William Lane Craig risks his reputation by arguing against someone with an insufficient pedigree. If he loses, he'll be humiliated. Yeah, I mean, he also risks a reputation by arguing against someone with a sufficient pedigree. So I don't buy that. GSP says, Travis, you are not worth debating this subject, at least to go talk about it. I enjoy your shows, but you're not much of a deep thinker on these issues. Well, fair enough. Where do you disagree with me on these issues? Lay it out, man. Or woman. Whoever you are. And again, you're GSP, you're speaking in platitudes. Let's get to something concrete here. And I task you to be more wise in how you present your positions. Like, like Craig has debated every single atheist worth anything. How could you know that? Like, what are your criteria for knowing that? or are you just being hyperbolic? All right. Looks like Scott has made his next move here. Let's take a look. Yes, yes. Now, Scott is an excellent player. I really have to pay attention here. Now, if I go, I should also be careful because he might be watching the stream. He takes, check. Yeah, I can get some material out of that. Ooh, that too. Okay. Yeah, we're going to put the pressure on old Queenie there. Oh no. I almost made a mistake. There we go. That's what we want right now. And if he jumps out there, we can nail him. Okay. We are good to go. Well, your argument for an infinite regression was terrible. Well, I mean, something logically, something cannot come from nothing, right? I'm just putting out a purely a logical. I'm using logical deduction to come to that position that I think it's more likely that something is born of something infinite than it is something born from nothing. And we're talking about nothing in the true sense, the absolute sense of nothing. If we're really talking about nothing, yeah, and it's true. James K says nobody knows for certain if the universe is infinite or not. Of course. And my first maxim is certainty is almost certainly unattainable. So, I'm a fallibilist at my core. Everything I believe or say could be wrong, and I'm willing to change my mind. But I'm just saying, if I had to place a bet on it, if I had to place a bet on reality being infinite at some level of analysis or finite, in that something was born out of nothing, I think it's much more likely that there's an infinite state of potential. And again, that state of potential could be, you put anything in there that could be in that space. So, and again, GSP says, well, your argument for infinite regression was terrible. You don't outline what was terrible about it. Again, GSP, you're just, you are doing the right thing by attacking the argument. I think that's great. We should attack the argument and not the person. Great. But add some substance. Don't just say something is terrible. If God made the universe, who made God? Yeah, that's a great question. God could have been born out of that, infinite state of potential. GSP says, you would agree that quantitative infinites are impossible. No, I wouldn't agree with that. I don't believe I can claim anything to be impossible because I do not have the capacity to assess the entire realm of possibility to rule out those things. Like, I'll ask you this right now, GSP. Do you think it's impossible that Michael Jackson is dancing on the surface of the sun right now? Do you think that's impossible? GSP says, yes, we know for certain that the past cannot be infinite. It takes 2 seconds to realize that. Again, this is just you're just making a proclamation. You're just professing this to be the case. And you said actual infinites are impossible. Again, you're just making a proclamation, stating this as a fact. James K says either the universe existed always or it had a beginning and came from nothing, which is more absurd. Yeah, it came from nothing is more absurd. That's why I bet on the other one. There, just logically, that is more absurd. It's to me, to my appetite, there being something infinite. Like I'm not going to say that's impossible. Something coming from nothing is the closest I can almost get to being absolutely certain that that can't happen. But I'm a fallibilist, right? So there could be something about nothing that I don't know. But wouldn't that be something? So you believe you can have an infinite number of apples? Um, sure, it seems possible. No, it's not impossible that Michael Jackson is dancing. It is metaphysically possible. Yeah, I think you're. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, James K is right. He says it is technically possible for Michael Jackson to be existing in some absurd place because quantum weirdness technically enables it. Yeah, it's just incredibly unlikely. Yeah, it just requires an impossible amount of time. Yeah, I wouldn't say impossible amount of time. It's just like uh, a nearly impossible event. Oh, thank you guys for the questions. This is allowing me to create a lot of content here. So all this will be chopped up into shorts and all kinds of stuff. Laura Ray says there's not nothing, even empty space has dark matter. Sure. No, so and then you say time doesn't exist, a man-made construct. Time in physics is just referencing change. So change exists. So time is the abstraction we've made in order to help us map what you know change and rates of change. But you know what time is being abstracted from exists. Surely, change exists. GSP says, "Do you think, Travis, you dislike of my dislike of religion, and maybe you don't want God influence what you think? Do you think, Travis, you dislike of religion, maybe you don't want God influence what you think?" Uh, no, I mean, I care about what's correspondently true about reality, right? And there's been no correspondence between the claims that we make about God's existing and our ability to demonstrate those claims, objectively through the correspondence criteria of truth. We haven't been able to draw any lines there, so there's no plausibility to that gods exist. That doesn't mean it's impossible. I will grant you that it's possible for gods to exist, or leprechauns, or fairies, or whatever. There's just no plausibility factor there. We haven't drawn that line correspondently. Now, if your criteria of truth is that of a traditional criteria of truth, then you have your justification from a truth perspective for God's existing. No problem. You can just reference your traditional book and say, no, it's true. It's right there in the book. Or a coherentist criteria of truth where it just feels so coherent to you, and just you take all of everything that you see in reality, and it's just like to deny God is like denying reality itself. Yeah, so some people come at it from a coherence criteria of truth, but correspondently, the thing that science relies on, a lot of people would call this like scientific truth. um of course, and that's how we tend to evaluate claims of about reality. If we really want to know if something actually exists, like if we really want to know if Santa Claus exists, you know we're not talking about exists as a concept in the mind. We're talking about Santa Claus going around on Christmas Eve and dropping off presents and whatnot. We want to correspond the objects in reality to the claims that we make about it. But one exercise that's important for every thinker is to understand their criterias of truth. And I say criterias because most of us are operating under a custom criteria of truth. To understand your criterias of truth and how those represent how you feel about reality. And so just honestly, a great exercise is just to Google criterias of truth, pull up the Wikipedia for criterias of truth, and start learning how you kind of piecemeal what you believe to be true together in your own life. And you can ask yourself basic questions like, um, if your wife comes back with grocery bags, do you do you not only do you believe if she's gone to the grocery store, but do you know that she's gone to the grocery store? Because then you're going to get to your epistemological standards of truth, and how that informs your epistemology, what you claim to know. So yeah, try to understand your criterias of truth. And also, please take a second to drop a like on this video. It really helps in the algorithm. I'm just waiting for Scott to move here. GSP says, my opinion is you don't want God to exist. I don't have a want either way. I want to know what is correspondently true in reality. As someone with a scientific view of the world from a truth perspective, I want to know what we can correspond with what we say about reality, the same way we do with logic, the same way we do in any kind of scientific modeling. I think that is our best way to understand reality. Now, there are people who disagree with me. A lot of idealists are going to disagree with me on that. But I see them reaping the benefits of correspondent criteria of truth in their day-to-day life, but then they come into a philosophical discussion and they want to point out the flaws and think that truthness is more coherent than it is correspondent. And actually, someone like Jordan Peterson, when he starts talking about God, he's arguing for a more traditional coherentist view of the existence of God than a correspondent truth of the existence of God. And that's why a lot of people don't understand what the hell Jordan Peterson's talking about, because he's trying to show you like metaphorical truth is more of a coherence criteria of truth. That's what's being argued there. James K says, according to the many worlds interpretation, there is a universe for every possibility compatible with the laws of physics. Still, in no universe is Amy Schumer funny. Yeah. I mean, infinite universes just might be stranger than that. And that's why I tend to not like, I tend to take all that with a grain of salt. Like, I'm happy to say there seems to need to be a fundamental state of potential for something to happen. But after that, I find it very dubious to claim anything about what that infinite state of potential has done. It's just that would be the place that just everything is born of. All the stardust that gives us life and everything would come from there. And like big bangs would happen from that infinite state of potential. James K says Jesus is thought to have been the Son of God simply because he was capable of turning water into wine. My guinea pig is capable of turning water into urine. Is this not evidence of divinity? That's good. I like it. So on the Jesus question, mythicism versus, the man himself, versus historical Jesus. I am not convinced that of the claim that Jesus existed as a man. I'm also not convinced of the claim that Jesus did not exist as a man. So, I'm atheistic with regards to my belief position on Jesus, uh, in the historicity versus mythicism position. Um, and with regards to knowledge, I don't claim to know that Jesus existed as an actual man, and I don't claim to know that Jesus did not exist as an actual man. GSP says a lot of people don't like truth. They choose what they prefer, including you, Travis. We all choose what we prefer, and this is born of our sentiments, GSP. You, me, every human being that's ever existed. What our truth appetites, all of our psychological appetites are born of our sentiments, how we feel about propositions. So if I was to say to you, God doesn't exist, you feel a certain way about that proposition. You either accept that proposition or you don't. Many people accept that proposition because they feel that it is a sound proposition, that burdens of proof or whatever their criteria of truth is has been met for that proposition. But you feel differently. You feel that that proposition has not met its burden of proof or whatever your truth criteria is. So, anyone who thinks that they've escaped their sentiments to be like more truthful or more rational, I'm sorry, but your attitudes towards rationality are born of your sentiments. You value rationality because it feels good to you. That's what's going on. Tomorrow you might feel differently, but we are victims of our feelings. And, if for those of you who want to look more into neuroscience and what's happening in the brain, at least what we can tell so far, is we understand that thoughts are happening to us. We are not pulling thoughts out of some ether based on, our ability to just make things up spontaneously outside of what physics is pushing us to do. No, thoughts are happening to us. A thought is being triggered and we are becoming aware of that thought as though we feel that we are thinking it. So we are philosophical zombies to some degree and automatons. So, and that leads me to my position that this is all determined. All of your thoughts, everything that's going on. The best answer to the free will versus determinism question is that this is all determined. Free will has never been demonstrated. There's never been demonstrated a free will that allows you to kind of step outside of the cause and effect nature of reality and say, okay, I'm going to make a decision now that's going to change the course of the physics that are pressuring on my mind at this moment. It just doesn't happen that way. Physics pressures us, a thought fires in our mind, and then we become aware of it. So thoughts are happening to us. This is what all of our most contemporary neuroscience shows us. So people who think that they have escaped this deterministic causal chain of events, I'm sorry, but you haven't. If you guys haven't seen my recent discussion on stage with Lawrence Krauss, it exists on this channel. If you scroll down a bit, or if you go to the live events playlist, him and I sat down in Vancouver on stage recently, and it was a great conversation about his new book, The Edge of Knowledge. Fascinating book. You guys should all get it if you're interested in physics and the known unknowns. Lawrence even delves into consciousness in that book, which was very exciting because every time I would ask him about consciousness, he would be like, "Oh fuck, I don't want to talk about consciousness. It's too hard." And I agree with him. Like consciousness is it fundamentally is a mystery. And when I say that, I'm not talking about like, oh, now I'm unconscious and now I'm conscious. Not that part, but what consciousness is at its core, right? And there's been, the hard problem of consciousness as presented by David Chalmers talks about like, the hard problem being experience. Where does experience live in the mind or in reality? Where is it? We talk about things like qualia being like these kind of these like particulate representations of experience. But it's a really getting into the conversations around consciousness is very exciting because there's everyone's got an opinion about consciousness. Um, One thing I will claim to know as a physicalist is I know that consciousness is physical. Just I believe everything is physical, and I know everything is physical. I could be wrong about that. Um, Again, my first maxim, the first Pangburnian maxim is certainty is almost certainly unattainable. This is my fallibilism maxim. I think everyone should start with that in their mind, that they could be wrong about absolutely anything. And that certainty is not even something that we should strive towards. It shouldn't even come up in our conversations about epistemology. Everyone, please drop a like when you stop by. Helps me out a lot. Laura says, in the bigger scheme of things, does anything really matter? Yeah, nothing intrinsically matters as far as I can tell. We create meaning. We create what matters to us, and all of that is created through our sentiments, through our sentimentality, through our emotions. Um, some of us are going to feel very strongly that the Bible is the answer, and and it's got it. Like, we feel so strongly. It's like, how can people not see this? It's you feel a certain way about the Bible, but then other people are like, I really feel that the Bible is just a crock of shit written by man, uh, you know, written by Paul and whoever, and people who claim to be divinely inspired. And why would we believe that? People just feel different ways about reality, and yeah, and I think this is where we get our meaning. We have this, I think we have this pleasure hierarchy, and we are pleasure seeking beings that are looking to maximize pleasure for ourselves, and pleasure can come in many forms: happiness, self-sacrifice, all kinds of different things. But I think we are constantly trying to climb this pleasure hierarchy, which is always changing in our lives. um, I mean, Zach, does energy coalesce to matter? I think E equals MC squared takes care of that question. Energy is equal to mass times the speed of light squared. I think that's that seems to be solved, at least for now. Okay, let's get back to the chess game here. Let's see if Scott has moved. Nope, looks like he hasn't. He must be busy. Let's get into a new game. Oh. My neck has been really sore. So I really like taking up this position. We're going to protect offer a trade. Do I want to trade queens? Yeah. We're going to trade queens. We're going to take this beautiful pawn position. GSP says, how can you demonstrate to me that consciousness is physical? That's just my best bet so far. As a physicalist, I'm placing my best bet on that. There are no examples that have been demonstrated to be non-physical. Nothing non-physical has ever been demonstrated to exist. Never. Absolutely never. Never been demonstrated. And I'm talking correspondently. So, you know, ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, shit. I was doing the wrong thing there. I want to go there. That's the thing. A lot of people are like, oh, demonstrate that that thing is actually physical. The burden of proof is on those claiming, obviously I'm not going to claim something's physical until we physically detect it. It's just, that's my best bet for anything in reality is that it's physical. And the reason for that is non-physical things, like prove that it's not non-physical. It's like nothing non-physical has ever been demonstrated. So GSP says, I don't think thoughts are physical. May I ask you what a thought looks like? Why do you think that thoughts are non-physical? Where do you get that idea? Is that just faith? Because all of reality seems to be physical. Again, I told you that's my best bet. What is your best bet? If you say your best bet is are thoughts being non-physical, why would you ever believe that when everything in reality correspondently is telling us that reality is physical? You said thoughts have no mass, no size, no color. How do you know that? How do you come to know that? All right, I've won 2 in a row here. Let's see if we can get a hat trick. Wow, you guys, well done. 4,000 views in 1.5 hours on this morning's clip. If you guys haven't watched this morning's clip, the question is Muslim culture is bad. Already 87 comments. Do head over and check that one out. 178 likes. Very good, very good. Wow, he's really. Wait, did he take material there? What was the last move? e4 to d5. Oh, okay. Yeah. Wait, what did he take there? Okay, we'll pin as well. Interesting. Interesting. Right, we're going to target. Yeah, I mean, person, thanks for your comment. Person says, I misunderstood what this channel is and somehow ended up in a live stream. But one thing we all agree on is Jordan Peterson isn't a Christian. I mean, I would look, these labels are deemed so by the conceptualizer. I think anyone can really like be like, Jesus is a cool dude. I'm a Christian, and people will be like, like, no, you're not. You're not doing this, that, and the other. I think when we get into the no true Scotsman fallacy of like, oh, you have to be a Christian to do this, that, and the other, the next person is just going to disagree with you. So, I mean, Jordan Peterson is, a lot of people are going to call him a, a cultural Christian or an atheist Christian. I think Jordan Peterson is an atheist because he doesn't believe in the existence of God in the correspondent sense. He doesn't believe that. He believes that God exists like metaphorically. That's not what people generally mean when they talk about God existing. For example, in Matt Dillahunty's conversation with Jordan Peterson, the first question, audience member question, was, this is a question for Jordan Peterson: if humanity ceased to exist, would God still exist? Now, for any Christian that actually believes that God exists in the sense of it's an actual being that's not mind dependent, they would say, of course God exists if humanity ceased to exist. God can do anything. God is everywhere. God is everything. That's a very easy question. But Jordan Peterson sits there and he just like, I'm not sure how to answer that question. And he fumbles around a little bit with it. He says it's too hypothetical. But this shows me that Jordan Peterson is not convinced of the claim that God exists mind independently. So Jordan Peterson seems to believe in a mind-dependent God. He's not convinced yet of the claim that God exists mind independently. So that makes him an atheist in my book. He lacks a belief in the existence of God from a mind-dependent perspective. From a mind-independent perspective. Yeah, GSP, thanks for coming and disagreeing. I appreciate it. No worries. Appreciate the questions. But yeah, you guys, Pangburn, for those of you who are new, Pangburn is just about good faith and helpfulness. And a lot of what you see on this channel is good faith, helpful discussions. That's what we strive for here. Wait. Oh, yeah. That is my move. Cha-ching. Let's see if he blunders. This guy's actually a decent player I'm playing. Zach says the skull is a resonance structure. Stand inside the center of a sphere and whisper. That kind of sounds like a deepity. Do you mean that literally, or are you? The skull is a resonance structure. Stand in the center of a. Ooh. Okay, I need to protect that with that. Activate. Person says, if God is subject to space, time, or matter, he's not God. The Genesis claims it. Yeah, I mean, like all of this stuff is possible. That's why the realm of possibility is like the place where we create Harry Potter and all kinds of fake things. Um, so yeah, it's possible that you know this God was poorly interpreted by Paul and whoever else was contributing to the scriptures, and maybe they got it wrong, and God is subject to space, time, and matter. Uh, but yeah, I mean, almost certainly not. There's almost certainly no gods, folks. It's just, you know, it should be clear. Like, people write things down claiming to be divinely inspired or claim to be divinely inspired, writing these stories down, writing these things down. Uh, People believe them that they were in fact divinely inspired. Why? Well, because they said so, or because what I see them writing is something I feel is divine. Well, if that's what you want to rely on, but I would suggest, going about these claims correspondently and seeing if there's actually any evidence or, any model we can build to test whether these things are true or not. And so far, there's zero plausibility that gods exist, and that's what matters to me, not possibility, because it seems as though anything's really possible. um okay, I'm going to, if he takes there, I take there, he takes there. Damn. So I need to move. Gonna give up a piece here. No, maybe not. Maybe not. Hmm. Nold says, "Do you think anyone has written a gospel or account without having an ulterior motive?" Yeah, I mean, someone could be convinced that they're receiving divine, signals. Like, they could be convinced of that, and it could all be like that they are being honest about what they're writing and what they feel is going on internally. Um, So yeah, probably people have written a gospel or account or some kind of religious scripture based on what they truly feel is happening to them. I don't think all of it is likely to be shysters. Hmm. What do I want to do here? I think there. I'm going to have to escort these pawns down. I might lose this game, folks. Let's go to this other games. Oh, Swaxy moved. Okay, he's targeting my queen. I'm going to pin his knight. It's okay. That's going to give me... Wait. Yeah. Okay. We're going to force the knight to move. We'll pick up some material here. Will I have Sam on any more shows? Nothing planned for the future with Sam Harris. What was Travis's definition of a woman? So I think there are two common usages for the label of woman. One being that woman is one of many different socially constructed gender identities. And everyone wants to know, like, what's the right one? Well, that's deemed so by the conceptualizers, by humanity. They will determine what is the right and wrong label for any of these things, right? And then the of course the traditional label is that which is you know that woman and female being meaning the same thing. Biological, woman means biological female. So yeah, there are two common usages now, and I think it's helpful for people to like, just like any kind. It's like, I think of the term marriage, right? I know a lot of Christians who refuse to call marriage between two males, that they refuse to call that marriage. Like, that is not marriage. Don't call that marriage. And I'll be like, okay, I understand that you don't consider that to be marriage. So different thing. GSP says, is Dillahunty going to do more shows? Matt and I have spoke recently about doing some more shows. So yeah, I would expect some shows with Matt Dillahunty in the near future. I've been spoken to Brian Green about some shows. So Brian Green, Matt, yeah, Dinesh is coming up. Uh, Reza Aslan, been speaking with. Um, who else? Yeah, some more people. I have some more plans with Lawrence Krauss to do some events. If things go well with Alex O'Connor, we'll get him on stage with some more people. Hmm. Interesting move. Yeah, I don't know why you hate Matt. I mean, I understand that you disagree with him a lot. Is it because he can be very short with people and lack patience and get angry? I don't like that about Matt. I think he can afford to be more patient. But we all have things we can we can improve upon. Yeah, I mean, Lawrence Krauss's point is that nothing in the colloquial sense of nothing is when there's like, oh, there's nothing, there's just space here. Um, his point is that like something that seems to be nothing at the quantum mechanical level, at the level of particles down that logarithmic scale, there is a lot going on. There's a lot of something going on. So, and that confuses people because everyone wants to be like, do you mean absolutely nothing? And he, of course, doesn't mean that in the way he's using it. Bum, 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 bum. Hmm. Well, folks, I'm going to resign from this game. I have lost this game. Very, very well done. Well, I'll do a couple more moves for fun. He's got his queen back. Uh-oh. Nah, I'm going to resign. GG. How many points did I lose? Oh, only 6 points. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine claiming to know that nothingness uh, doesn't exist. I'm fine taking on that burden of proof. Um, it's it's kind of one of those things that when you come to realize that it's something we'll probably never be able to test, I think we can still hold epistemological stances on this. Like I'm like I just based on my assessment of reality through a correspondent lens, it just seems almost impossible that in the same way that I claim to know that Santa Claus doesn't exist, at least in the form that is represented in The Night Before Christmas, I know that nothing doesn't exist. Can I be wrong about Santa Claus? Of course. Uh, can I be wrong about nothingness? Of course. This is why fallibilism, everyone should start with fallibilism. It's okay to adopt positions even if you uh, even if you can't, even if they're positions that may not be able to be absolutely demonstrated to you, based on your own standards. And I don't mean absolutely in like a certainty sense, but just like based on your standards. Yeah, GSP. Let's hear what arguments you think Matt makes that are wrong or incorrect. Um, like you asked me, what is a woman, and I gave you the two common usages. Now, do you have a problem with that answer? Are you part of this like cult of unchanging language that Richard Dawkins seems to be a part of now, and many people who really need to remind themselves of things like marriage and how concepts change over time, including scientific concepts. Um, Anyone who belongs to the cult of unchanging language, they should get out of that cult. There's no point in being in it. Language is going to change. Words are going to take on new meanings. Uh, so yeah, I know it and some people don't like the reasons why language changes. That's what bothers them. They're like, well, if the change happens naturally and it's not forced. People said the exact same thing about marriage, right? Like, why should these gays be able to call themselves being married when that's our word? That is a Christian word. Like people, this is the same arguments people make about like what is a woman. It's in that same space. So cult of unchanging language, bad, incorrect. Words can change. I hate to destroy your sandcastle on that, but the meaning of words changes. They do change. And sometimes it's as simple as like just social attitudes towards what they want words to mean. The meaning of words will be deemed so by the conceptualizers. See, GSP, you do belong to the cult of unchanging language. You say a woman is biological female. Now, do you agree that um, in let's say 50 years, the most common usage of woman will be that of a social construct and a very common gender identity? Do you agree with that? And do you agree that if like all of humanity adopts that, they will still be wrong? Because then we will really know the level of your cultness. GSP, you got to think through this stuff a little more, man. Thinking you are something does not make you that thing. What you are is deemed so by the conceptualizer. It's just in every case. Like if you play piano, right? Are you a pianist? Well, I call myself a pianist. You're not really a pianist because you can't play Beethoven's Concerto 7. Oh, so that's the criteria. No, fuck you. I'm a pianist because I can play chopsticks. You're not really a pianist. This is all no true Scotsman stuff. And again, the cult of unchanging language is a funny cult to me because they say things like, thinking you are something does not make you that thing. Can I choose my race? If 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 the conceptualizers deem race to be something different than the current category of race, then we can understand that if race is changed to mean, yeah, exactly. If race is changed to mean um, whatever you feel is your race, or whatever you choose to identify as your race, then today you can be Black Chinese Eskimo. Tomorrow you can be a white Chinese Arab. I don't know. No, I just defeated what you were saying, GSP. You see, you're watching too much Matt Walsh. You're watching too much Ben Shapiro. You're watching too much. You got to balance yourself from these guys, okay? Now, maybe you're not. I'm being tongue in cheek here. But don't just go to Matt Walsh. Watch what he has to say in his terrible arguments against people, and promoting the cult of unchanging language. And then people also strawman people who are biological males but choose to identify as a woman. They strawman them to think that they're saying that all of a sudden their biology has changed because they've called themselves a woman. That's a strawman of their position. Very common strawman. I see Jordan Peterson doing it. I see Shapiro doing it. I see Matt Walsh doing it. I see a lot of people doing it because they belong to the cult of unchanging language. It's a cult. You see, again, so you're like, so I can be black? If we decide that black or blackness is just an identity that anyone can identify as, then yes, you could be black. But that's going to be deemed so by the conceptualizers. Yeah, like language changes are not always going to make sense to us, right? They're not going to make sense. Oh man, that person's the jizz. What? Did you just call that person jizz? Like, this stuff is not going to make sense, but they're still using it. They're still using the word in that way. It might be the case that in the future, it's like everyone's the jizz. Oh, are you saying everyone's jizz? Yeah. No, see, GSP, you're responding with like, now you're starting to respond with like ad hominem, like targeting the person and not the argument. Travis calling a cult. That's funny. Woke atheists. Is that Jordan Peterson in the comment? GSP, are you Jordan Peterson? You woke moralists. You can decide for yourself. Call yourself black. If you ask me to refer to you as black, I'm probably not going to. I mean, I might do it in a joking way. Yeah, Zach is right. Any single concept may have a number of names. I think you mean usages, but yeah. Words have usages, folks. They don't have intrinsic meaning. The cult of unchanging language will tell you that this word means this, or means this and only this, and that's final. They said the same thing about marriage, right? Marriage means a union between a man and a woman under God, and that's final. Sorry, that's not what that concept means anymore, at least the most common usage. But I will grant them that the way they use it in their circle, it might just mean that. You mean males, right? GSPs, see, this is a common mistake in this conversation because it confuses terminology. GSP said, should we allow biological men in women's sports? You mean biological males. See, you, Matt Walsh, all these people conflate men and males when really there's been a scientific delineation between the two for over 20 years now. So should we allow, I'm gonna assume you're referring to males. Should we allow biological males in female sports? Let's simplify things. Males in female sports? No. Males and females should not compete against each other unless a female has demonstrated themselves to be able to compete safely at the competency level of males. So there are edge cases. There's been female goalies in the NHL in hockey. Most contact sports, it's not going to work, right? But yeah, no, I think we need to err on the side of safety, and what the data shows us about people's compete competency. There could be a woman that comes along who has the physicality and competitiveness to be able to compete with males in full contact hockey. I think that's highly unlikely based on the vast differences between female and males in hockey. vast differences in skill level, speed, strength, all that stuff. So, I like to talk about just males and females. Get the gender identities out of the equation. But when we're talking about males and females, yeah, of course, we need to be careful with that. Um, these biological males going into UFC fights against biological females is distasteful and awful. I think it's terrible, and it shouldn't be allowed. Shouldn't happen. Now, a lot of people say, well, then where can where can a trans woman compete in ultimate fighting? They need to create a new category for them to compete, or the trans woman needs to fight against males. That's how I feel currently on the issue. But again, there are situations where, let's say trans men, who are biological females, might be able to compete at the competency level as males. And, so long as a physician determines that they are safe to compete at that level, I'm fine with that. But I want some oversight, physician oversight in that decision. I don't want someone to sit back and like, yeah, it should be fine. Like there's liability being taken on in those situations. No, I said we get rid of the gender identities for the sake of this conversation about males versus females. See, I don't know if you're quite following there, GSP, but hopefully maybe you can watch back what I said. James K says anyone can claim to be transgender without very little commitment. Yeah, that's true, and this bestows them with incredible privilege. In some ways, that could be true. A non-falsifiable claim means you must accept I am oppressed and deserve accommodation. Yeah. So now, why do you think that people en masse aren't willing to go out and start identifying as a gender that they don't truly believe themselves to be, just so that they can get some incredible privilege that you're talking about? Like, for example, why don't you do that, James? You're probably going to say, well, because it's untrue. Well, yeah, almost everyone feels that way, right? There are shysters in every field of everything you can imagine who are going to do shit to take advantage of systems. That's just human beings. But of course that's the case. Why don't you do it? Because you're a truthful person. Why don't I do it? I'm a truthful person. GSP doesn't do it because he hates trans people. No, I'm kidding, GSP. But yeah, no. I really think most people are truthful when it comes to that, and they want to live truthfully. All right, everyone, please smash the like button. Let me check if I have a. Oh, Scott made his move. Let's see. He's going to put pressure on my queen. And I am going to maintain this. Oh no, he can just push there. So where I'm going to step back to is right here. I love this spot. I got to be careful with Scott. He's crafty. I actually really appreciate the questions, GSP. This is allowing me to create a lot of content. So thank you very much. Yeah. So like any case of fraud, So GSP asks, what about prison? If a biological male identifies as a woman, should they go to female or male prison? So, like any other case of fraud or false, actually, you know what I think? Yeah, fraud and false marriages, like marriages that are happening just so people can get their status, their card, right? Um, there needs to be investigations into this stuff, and there needs to be judgments on it. If all of a sudden this person is sentenced to 24 years in prison, and then they're like, and they're a biological male, and they're like, I identify as a woman. This needs to be investigated to see if there's any evidence that this person is being truthful in this claim. I think this is important. It needs to be investigated. We need to spend resources on it. It's that important. And I think in most cases, judges are going to find that, you know, oh, so all of a sudden you're going to prison for 24 years because you murdered your wife, and you now all of a sudden identify as a woman. No, that is not granted. You're going to prison with other males. Boom, gavel down. Next. Yeah. So that's my response to that. Do you believe black people are oppressed? Sure. In some parts of the world, black people are oppressed. There's also, white people who are oppressed in some parts of the world. There are Asians who are oppressed. There's oppression of all kinds of people all around the world. And look, and I think it's oversimplistic to say, like, are black people oppressed, white people oppressed? It just depends on the area, right? There are deprived, oppressed areas of all kinds of races all around the world. What are your thoughts on white privilege? I don't like the term white privilege. I mean, so many people I've known in my life are white, and they're still waiting for their white privilege check. Nothing about their life has been privileged in any way. Am I a socialist or capitalist? I mean, I believe that capitalism is an excellent economic system, but I believe in, like, a combination of both of them, where you need social programs to uplift people who are in depravity. So, like I am on all issues, like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Let's see what the human well-being outcome is. That's what really matters. For those of you who don't know, my moral quest is to maximize well-being for myself and those around me. And for those around me, I want to eventually build that circle as big as the globe, and maybe beyond, if Elon Musk is successful in his Mars thing. But I do truly want to create. I want Pangburn to be a movement that starts building conversation cultures that are grounded in fallibilism, and this is how we eradicate dogmatism from reality. Dogmatism being, just believing something incontrovertibly, believing that nothing about this particular thing could ever be wrong. I think dogmatism is one of the greatest banes on humanity. You find a lot of it in religion. GSP says, how can you demonstrate someone is not a woman? If anyone just says they are a woman, they are a woman. So in those cases, it's like, again, it's the same thing as, like, how do you demonstrate that two people are not in love who have potentially gotten married to rig the system so that they could just get their status card, or their, they can come into the country illegally because it was fake? How do you demonstrate that? Well, eventually someone's got to make a judgment on it. And I don't think this idea of gender identity, or anything for that matter, should be outside of the purview of the judicial process that we love so much in our democracy. GSP says, how are your shows funded? So in the past, I've worked with different investors to help fund the shows. And of course, if the shows do well and we make a profit on the shows, that goes into a pool to produce the next shows. And usually that's in concert with investors. And, myself saving up my own funds through different things throughout the years, different investments. But from now on, we are almost at the point where I can buy out events solely based on YouTube revenue. And that's an amazing thing, because once we get to that, reach that plateau, we'll just have a new fucking live event dropping on this channel at least every month, at least. And that's very exciting. But and for any of you that want to get involved with what we're doing at Pangburn, like, I have franchised out 20 different YouTube channels already. So I'm franchising out YouTube channels for people who are interested, who are going to embody those two Pangburn dialectical virtues of good faith and helpfulness. If you can stomach those, then I can bring you on and franchise you a YouTube channel if you start wanting to, if you want to fast track into a career as a YouTuber. So do get in touch with me. You can join our Discord server to get in touch with me about that. Let me give you guys the Discord link in case you don't have it. Discord is just a place that we all meet up to have voice conversations and all kinds of stuff like that. So I hope that answers your question. You say, so someone else gets to determine whether you're a woman or not? No, I think in that case, what it would be, I think what the court would decide, like a judge would decide, they would say, you are doing this to simply trick the system. Although you may in fact be a woman, we are not ready to give you the privileges of that gender identity at this time, which would include going to prison with biological females. So obviously this has to be worded correctly in a way that you're not potentially denying someone's identity. I think that's important. And I understand if people don't think that's important. Like, I think that's important if it's important to someone. It's not important to me. You can identify me as any gender. I don't give a fuck. Yoko No says, why do you support the death penalty? I don't support the death penalty. I think the death penalty is fucking immoral. I hate the death penalty. It should be stopped all around the world. Stop with the death penalty. Please. Thank you guys for the questions. Again, it's helping me to create lots of content here, so I really appreciate this. I'm going to be live more often on the channel. If you guys just did come in, make sure you drop a like. Really appreciate it. What up, Nold? Wow, we have we have 25,000 people watching content on the channel right now. That's fucking awesome. What up, Nold? But I am going to hop off, guys. I got some other things. I got to run some errands and shit. But thank you so much for stopping by. GSP, James, all of you guys for asking questions. I really appreciate it. Continue to go out there and have good faith, helpful dialogues with people. Really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll catch you next time.